So today's episode is about a leper and how the miracle of Jesus Christ allowed this man to not only be healed, but to also be made whole. Now, this story is found in the New Testament, and it happens right after the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus Christ is descending with the multitude of people behind him, and all of a sudden a man with leprosy approaches him and asks, "Will you help me? Will you heal me? Will you help me to be clean?" So without further ado, here's the story. Upon descending from the mount, Jesus and his disciples, along with the gathered multitude, followed him into town. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, "Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean." We don't know where this leper was or who he is. However, is it possible that he had been part of the multitude on the Sermon on the Mount? How else would he have known where the Savior was? We learn from other encounters found in the New Testament that lepers gathered far off from the village. Imagine for a moment you are the leper, and you are asking to be healed. Are you asking because you've heard he can heal, or have you seen it for yourself and honestly know that Jesus can heal you? Is your faith in Jesus based on whether he will heal you, or that he can? And lastly, what if Jesus didn't heal you? Would you still believe in him, or is your faith dependent on whether or not he does what you ask? If you were the leper, what would you do? Would you do all in your power to be healed by the Savior? Back to the story. While running toward the front of the line, you ask yourself, do I have the faith to be healed by someone I hardly know? Your feet carry you as fast as they can. As you make your way towards the Savior, you say to yourself, what other choice do I have? His words, "You cannot serve God and mammon," ring in your ears. Something that you had heard while on the Sermon on the Mount. Finding faith, you call out, "Lord." He stops, along with his disciples. Finding yourself at his feet, you worship him. Looking into his eyes, you feel his love and warm embrace. Unaware of the countless people looking at you, you once again find your faith. "Lord," you stammer, "if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean." Your words surprise you. Did I just say that? There is a moment of silence. You continue to look at his feet, but out of the corner of your eye, you see something. It is his hand. You look up. His hand is resting on your shoulder. "I will," he says, "be thou clean." Never in a million years would you believe those 5 words could change your life, but they have. You look down at your skin, examining. Bringing your hands to your face, you feel the bumps and sores from the leprosy disappear. Tears fill your eyes, and immediately his leprosy was cleansed. You cannot believe it, but at the same time, you can. With gratitude in your heart, you humbly smile at the Savior and do as he asked. "Go thy way, show thyself to the priest." The man with leprosy had faith to be healed. That we know. We also know Jesus is capable of healing wounds, repairing skin, and making us whole immediately. In today's world, how often do we seek immediate gratification, and from what source? Although someone may like our image or follow us on Instagram, and when the moment comes, the gratification is immediate. However, how long does it last? From personal experience, I know that not for long. This encounter with the Savior not only happened immediately, but it also immediately changed the man whom Jesus blessed. Not only did the man come to be healed, but he also came to be heard. Now, for just a little backstory, those who had leprosy were commanded to say "unclean" every time a stranger approached them. Now imagine if you had to shout "unclean" every time a stranger approached you. How would you feel? Not only would it be discouraging, but also humiliating. In your mind you're thinking, I know I'm unclean, now just leave me alone. It would be exhausting, let alone saddening. And eventually, you would believe you were unclean and unworthy of God's love or attention. To hear those words pronounced by the Savior, "Be thou clean," you can't help but feel overcome with emotion. Ever since leprosy took over your body, you convinced yourself, this is who I am now. I will always be unclean. It's what you believed because it's all you knew. But with the help of the Savior, he not only healed you, but he also cleansed you. The healing of your skin was immediate, but so was your aching heart. From this experience, we witnessed the immediate healing power, both physical and spiritual. The only limits with the Savior are the ones we place upon ourselves, our lack of belief and desire to let Him into our lives. There isn't anything He can't do. No mountain too high, no burden too heavy. Jesus is the light of the world, and He can also be your best friend if you let Him. You came asking for a piece of bread, and in return, He gave you a loaf. This is the miracle of Jesus Christ. Just want to say thank you so much for watching and for supporting A Moment with Christ and being a part of this community. And I hope that as you move forward in your spiritual journey, that you remember the story of this gentleman, but more importantly, that you remember that when you come to the Savior, He's not only going to give you a piece of bread, but He's going to give you a loaf. And that is the true miracle of Jesus. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.